Welcome to the Wire to Wire podcast. As always, it's me, your host Yusuf. Now, without further ado, let's just get right to it. So there's a photo going viral of Stephen A. Smith playing a game of Solitaire while Game 4 of the NBA Finals is going on. Overall, I find the story to be funny because I think it proves two things. So number one, it shows that Stephen A. Smith, and honestly many people like him, are not actually watching the games. They watch highlights or they look at the box scores and they make assessments based on that. They're not watching the games in their entirety and making analysis and formulating opinions based on watching the full game. And that's why we honestly see the kind of sports coverage that we see from the mainstream media and even people in the independent media space. It's all based on narratives and storylines. So I wanted to do an episode, I want to say last year or the year before. I don't even know. The way time is moving, everything just seems so close together. But there's an episode that I wanted to do that ultimately I didn't end up doing. But the premise was going to be very similar to this episode. And it was a time when Stephen A. Smith said that he was working on his book while games were going on in the studio. So I thought to myself, if you're in studio writing your book, then how do you have time to actually watch the games and then give analysis at halftime or even after the game is concluded? So I thought in that moment he exposed himself. But I ultimately didn't end up doing that episode because I didn't really want to criticize him for something like that. I thought that maybe he was just saying it because he was being defensive because of the criticism that was coming for him based on some of the misinformation and exaggerations that he put in his book. So I wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt and just let it go. But for this to be happening now is crazy to me. He is viewed as a de facto expert and analyst of the game, and he's getting paid $100 million from ESPN for his analysis and commentary of the game. And you're not even watching it. This is a crucial game of the NBA Finals, the biggest stage in basketball. And you're in the crowd playing solitaire. So the whole thing is just crazy to me. And it's not like he was doing it in between a timeout or there was a stoppage in the game. It was literally while the game was going on. So it's just not a good look as a professional for him to be doing that. At the end of the day, you're there to be doing a job and you should be doing it. How can you be taken seriously for your basketball analysis or your takes if you're not even watching the game while it's going on? This situation kind of ties into another episode that I put out that you guys can check out, where basically I say that his strategy is to start drama with NBA players in an effort to try and gain access to them. And this is really his style and this is what he does. Stephen A. Smith is not known for his basketball prowess or his knowledge of the game. He's not known for giving thorough and comprehensive analysis of basketball. He's known for his entertainment value, the yelling, the screaming, the theatrics, the drama. All of the bombast and flair is what he brings to sports media. No one is going to confuse Stephen A. Smith for being a basketball savant when it comes to the game itself. So I thought when he said that he was writing his book in studio while the game was going on, I thought it was kind of odd that he would expose himself, and I thought it was odd that no one ever really called him out for it. It seems like I was the only person who noticed that he said that. But this ties into a second point that I want to make, which is we're living in a completely different time. Now everyone has access to smartphones and there is so much scrutiny and attention that people pay attention to what others are doing in a way that they never used to. Now someone could just see someone looking at something on their phone and they might take a picture or a video of it if they find it to be interesting enough. And everyone is under this level of hyper scrutiny. Sometimes you see photos or videos emerge and going viral because they see someone doing something. Like, for example, sleeping on the job. You'll see a security guard, right? He might be dozed off while he's supposed to be working his post. And I think it was last week or the week before, but there was a guy who was sending loving messages to artificial intelligence as though it was his girl and they were in a relationship together. And someone caught it and they started recording that person exchanging those messages. I don't even want to say exchanging messages because they weren't talking to a person, but you know what I'm trying to say. But someone captured that incident and it went completely viral. So there is so much scrutiny that even the average person is under because one little slip can lead to something getting recorded or have a picture get taken, and then it can be uploaded to the internet and go viral. So this is the new world that we're living in. I remember one time I went to a mechanic and I was just waiting for my car to be serviced. And there was a dude who was there as well. And he just started talking to me and he was telling me that he works in security at a local library. And there are a lot of homeless people and junkies who go in and they're just sleeping there, lounging in there, doing nothing. He was telling me that he was instructed that he was not to approach these people or talk to these people. If he sees them doing anything alarming, do not confront them, but just call the police right away. So I asked, why is that the case? And he told me because someone there, they might have a smartphone, they might start recording it, and then they might position it and frame it as though he's being the aggressor and he's harassing these people for no reason, and it can cause a media and public relations firestorm. So he was told just to be on the safe side, do not confront, do not do anything. If you see something, just get the police involved. If not, leave them alone and let them be. And while I obviously don't agree with that, I can understand the reasoning behind it, because all it takes is for someone to take out their camera, record an interaction without any context or any details, and just frame it a certain way, and that segment of video that people see will be enough to shape and form an entire narrative. And that's just the reality of the kind of world that we're living in today. People only care about what they saw and they don't care about any context. And that's enough for them to form their opinion. And part of the reason why I really wanted to do this episode, aside from the fact that overall it's a funny situation, is that when Shannon Sharpe was going through his situation about a month or a couple of months ago, Stephen A. Smith was on his podcast and saying, listen, you'll never catch me in a situation like this. I'll never get caught slipping. I don't do or make that kind of mistake. Now, maybe he won't get caught slipping in regards to the kind of stuff Shannon Sharpe is dealing with, but it doesn't mean that he is a perfect person who can't get caught slipping at all. This situation proves at any moment, anyone can be caught slipping. So you always have to be mindful of your surroundings, mindful of what you're doing, and mindful of who's around you, right? In Stephen A. Smith's case, he was only caught just playing solitaire on the job. But imagine if he was looking at something inappropriately. What if he had messages on his phone where he was saying something that might be considered embarrassing or just a conversation that you wouldn't want publicly out there? You never know who's looking nowadays. But this is the point. Number one, he's on the job, so he should be behaving professionally and not be on his phone. I don't know of many people who have a job where they could be doing work or they're supposed to be doing work and they're on their phone playing solitaire instead. But also number two, be mindful of your surrounding. Always assume that anything you do could be caught on camera or caught on video. And if you're someone who's a celebrity or an influencer, that rule applies times 10 or times 100 because you're under even more scrutiny than just the average person. So I think the situation really speaks on two different levels. Number one, it shows that many people don't actually consume the game or watch the game or understand what's really going on. They're looking at highlights, they're looking at box scores, they're just watching these mainstream media programs, and they're just following and going along with their narratives, right? They're not actually watching the game for full context to understand what's happening. But number two, I think it really speaks to the reality of the times that we're living in. That something like privacy is becoming more and more a thing of the past. So we should always be mindful of what we're doing in public settings and always assume that we're being watched and to keep our heads on a swivel. We're living in a different time, and we're living in a world where people don't try to seek or understand context. They're just going to believe what they see at face value. So for example, if an average person is just sleeping on the job, no one is going to look at that video and say, well, maybe that person had a baby that couldn't stop crying and it kept him up all night and he was tending to that baby and that's why he's so tired. Or hey, maybe that guy's working 2 jobs or maybe even 3 jobs and that's why he's so exhausted. No one's going to look for the context. They're just going to look at it and say, well, that guy's sleeping on the job. He's lazy and he deserves to be fired. Are they right? Are they wrong? That's for you to decide. I don't even think Stephen A. Smith should be reprimanded for him using his phone on the job. I just think it's not a good look for someone who calls himself a basketball expert covering the game for 30 years. That's probably not a good look for you, especially if you want to position yourself as an expert. Then you shouldn't be doing stuff like that. But do I think he should be reprimanded? No. Do I think he should get in trouble? No. I think just the embarrassment that he got caught doing that is honestly punishment enough. At the end of the day, when you get paid a certain amount and you're at a certain level, you have a lot more leeway when it comes to certain things. So I'm not going to begrudge him or call for his job because he's doing that. But I do think that this confirms a lot of the beliefs that we hold about him, that he doesn't really know what he's talking about when it comes to his analysis, and he's more so there for entertainment value. So I never really took him seriously as a basketball analyst, and this is further proof why he shouldn't be taken seriously as a basketball analyst. But I'm not going to be one of those people who call for his job or anything like that. I don't think it's that serious. But it is, again, a testament to his analysis of the game, but also too, it speaks to the kind of world and society that we're living in. So while a lot of this is just entertainment, I do believe that there is a thoughtful lesson that could be learned in all of this. Keep your head on a swivel, pay attention to your surroundings, and be mindful of what you're doing. Always assume in a public place that you can be seen and people may catch what you're doing. So be mindful of your behavior and your conduct at all times. But that's all I got for you guys today. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast and share it with your people. You can also follow me and the podcast on social media. You can check out my books. All of these links will be in the description. Until next time.